Hey guys, today is episode 4.
Internet browser exclusively for those with great
So,
taste. Just look at these gorgeous new themes. Much
So
better than
last
being flash
time,
banged by a
if you didn't
blinding
see
white
it,
default screen. Do you like quality of
I
life enhancements? I do too. My quality of life used to be so low, but now I have Tab Island.
decided
Finally, I can
to
organize my billion YouTube tabs from important emails to save time and space and look less deranged.
do an
Which
adventure.
I'm not. And with tab traces,
And I
I
have
can
to
see
finish
which tabs I
this.
used most recently by which
When I'm
underlying darkness.
finished,
Not to mention a built-in media
I'll
player that you can drag wherever you want, even
do
outside the browser.
another
May I interest you in
adventure,
split
probably.
screens? Just drag and drop. No more flopping between windows. Now writing scripts or essays sucks significantly less. Shopping for wheels for your Mustang? Use the AI feature Aria with a few key presses. Have her figure out what car the rims are from, or have her generate an image of anything you need, like what your car would look like with them on. Alright, I probably shouldn't get them. And it's your lucky day. Opera is offering an exclusive 20% off. Wait, what? It's free? Okay, it's hard to believe, but that's a damn good deal. Link in the description, and back to the video. A few months into our relationship, I had the brilliant idea to take Izzy camping. It would be picturesque. I'd wow her with my masculine wilderness skills, treat her to some s'mores, and we'd gaze into the cosmos as we drift off into a rosy slumber. So, we packed up our supplies and wheeled off to the campsite. Right away, I got to setting up this old tent I borrowed from my dad. After I spent 1,000 years detangling the wire monster of a tent and setting it up, I realized something was missing. Does that look unstable to you?
Might be a little lopsided.
Our tent literally started flying away. Apparently, the random tent from my dad's garage didn't have pegs. It was one ugly kite. But I was not ready to give up yet. We will have our Instagram-worthy date, or we will die trying. So, we hopped in my truck and drove all the way back into town to go to Walmart. After we got a shiny new $30 tent, since apparently you can't just buy pegs, I was genuinely frustrated. Nothing had gone to plan, and it was the first time Izzy had ever seen me angry. I sloppily threw the tent up and started working on a fire. Maybe I could salvage my masculinity if I got this right. But when I went to grab the materials, well, it turns out my masculinity had a bigger part in packing our bag than I did. I had packed nothing but a flint and steel and a survival knife. Before we had gone camping, I bragged to Izzy about going to wilderness camp one time when I was 13, and that I can start a fire with practically nothing. So there it is in my bag. Practically nothing. I tried and failed, and it just wasn't happening. Izzy even found some matches, but those wouldn't work either. I even resorted to burning some of our homework to get it started, to no avail. Sorry, Mr. Jones. Oh, this is so stupid.
Do you mind if I give it a try?
Fine, whatever. I mean, I went to frickin' wilderness camp when I was 13, but for kicks and giggles, let's have you give it a go. Kidding. So, we finally got our s'mores and hot dogs. No thanks to me. And after an uncomfortably cold night of sleep, we went home. With
I'm
a
busy
caveat that
recording
our
the
next
video.
date would be more,
which I'm recording
hey,
right now.
There's one thing I
So
accomplished
can
on our
one of
trip,
you guys please
making
do
him
it?
for better. Despite all the glaring red
What?
flags,
I'm
such as
recording a
collecting
video.
pretty blushes, having idiotic friends, and being a YouTuber, she still wanted to be with me somehow. But that's not to say the red flags were all on my side. There were tons of things that definitely were not outlined in the terms and conditions. First of all, as a boyfriend, you forfeit your right to hoodies. They belong to your partner now. One time, Izzy asked,
Are you gonna wear that?
to a hoodie I was currently wearing. Yeah?
Well, that's too bad.
Well, how did you, what? After living together, you may get the treat of doing laundry for your partner. And going from men's clothing to women's clothing, on top of having 0 pockets and no sizing standards at all, it simply makes no sense. What the? That doesn't make any... That's impossible!
What happened in here?
I'm not strong enough. Secondly, Izzy has a software glitch that prevents her from picking up her phone when it is most necessary. This cannot be fixed. I go to the supermarket to pick up something she asked for and call her to double check. No. She has vanished from this mortal plane. But the moment I leave the store, she's right there to call and tell me it's completely the wrong thing. Another thing I definitely wasn't prepared for was the hoarding. I'm a textbook young dude. If I was single and left unattended, I would live in a studio apartment with a single TV, camping chair, and mini fridge. Actually, the apartment is optional. But my perspective is not shared. Izzy holds on to everything. I'm talking about homework projects from 5th grade, receipts from 10 years ago, and blankets or clothing that are just begging to be put out of their misery. Look, I'm all for sentimentality, but I fail to see how a receipt for rat poison and ravioli from 6 months ago is supposed to be useful. Although, I'm not blameless in this. When we first got together, I promised Izzy that every month I would give her a new Squishmallow. You know, those egg-shaped plushes that drive people crazy. Which is really cute when you first get together. But after a couple of years, they've slowly and inevitably taken over our home, and I'm afraid if we turn the lights off, they will take over our souls. It also didn't take long for me to become the designated driver of our relationship. Not like she's incapable of driving or anything, she just slightly makes me fear for my life. She's a passenger princess, if you will. And that term is fitting. She's over there kicking off her shoes and scrolling Instagram reels while I'm trying to navigate downtown Calgary at peak rush hour. But naturally, this does not stop her from commenting on my driving or, quote-unquote, helping me out.
Stop! Gosh, babe, are you trying to kill us?
But in fairness, I'm a bit of a kitchen king. I can cook an absolutely mean macaroni and cheese, but otherwise I'm better left on the sidelines. So cooking together usually goes a little something like this.
Don't touch that. That's sugar.
Oh!
Why don't you go grill the steaks, hon?
You want me to put meat on hot metal and stand still until it's done? Yay, I'm helping! Recently, Bryson, Izzy, and I were all sitting together on a flight to Anaheim for VidCon. Now, I'm pretty tall at 6'2", but Izzy dunks over me at a Goliath 6'5". So, needless to say, standard plane seats are not our friend. We knew going in that our knees would be assaulted, but we were excited about our destination, so we grit our teeth and took off. Not long after, the guy in front of Izzy just flies backwards, digging into Izzy's kneecaps. I immediately sprung into defense mode and tapped the guy on the shoulder. I told him, "Hey, can you put your seat back? My girlfriend is very tall." To which he nodded and complied. Sublime! I happily turned back to continue beating Bryson in Smash Bros. Because he sucks. But not even 5 minutes go by, and he just does it again. So I quickly tapped on his shoulder again. "Hey, could you put your seat back? My girlfriend is still tall." "Actually, no. I'm trying to sleep here, and the way you asked was actually very disrespectful." "It's a 2-hour flight, and dude, I asked you nicely." "Look, that's just not the way we do things around here." "Around where?"
Who's we?
"I get it. I'm 6'2", but the guy in front of me reclined, so now I have no room either. Now let me sleep."
Just ask him to move forward.
"What? No." We quickly got into an argument, and Bryson and Izzy chimed in to tell this dude off. But there was no negotiating with this moron. I looked at Izzy and asked, "Do you want me to push his chair forward?" But not wanting to escalate the situation, Izzy rightfully said no. She couldn't even recline herself since our seats were right beside the bathroom wall. All we could do was stare at his cul-de-sac-looking bald spot and imagine plucking his dwindling hairs from his thumb-shaped head. So, when he briefly leaned forward to get his drink from the flight attendant, I stuck my knee behind him and made sure he couldn't recline. He looked at us, getting more and more irritated and trying to force it back, but I wouldn't budge. Eventually, he asked the attendant to sit somewhere else, but the plane was full, and I held my ground all the way until the plane landed. I beat him. And to sweeten the victory, when this dude stood up, he was barely 5'6". If he's 6'2", I'm Shaquille O'Neal. Lastly, a quick PSA for anyone entering a relationship for the first time. There are unspoken rules as a partner that you must abide by. You're gonna want to write these down. If you go to a restaurant, you will be taking the crappier seat, and you will be calling over the waiter if their order is wrong. If you're playing Minecraft, turn keep inventory on. Swallow your pride, gamers. Go play hardcore on your own time. Many relationships have fallen to the nether. If they ask you to do something when you're free, they're asking you to do it now. If they ask you to do it in a few minutes, they're asking you to do it 10 minutes ago. So get on it. Now, go! If they put down their phone, you put down your phone. It is no longer phone time, apparently. Unless they specifically ask you to, don't try to solve their problems for them. Just listen. This is the first thing Brock told me when I got into a relationship, and it's true. This list goes on forever, and I'm still adding to it, but this will hold you over for a few weeks. Despite everything, I wanted to genuinely say that relationships are worth it. I talked about all the funny stuff here, but if I talked about everything I love about Izzy, I'd never shut up. Even though I made fun of her a ton in this video, I really love and appreciate Izzy more than words can convey. She seriously is the best, and is very awesome and cool and pretty. And I would still love her if she was a worm!
I need to know you mean it!
Thank you very much for tuning into this Yap Fest. Real quick, I just designed new merch. If you order it now, it'll probably arrive before Christmas. And I want to give a big thanks to my team for helping me make this video so awesome. Please show them some love. Speaking of love, thank you again, babe, for letting me make fun of us on the internet. I really appreciate it. Happy holidays. Thank you for watching. Get out of here!
Hi, I'm Bryson, and I have a lot of siblings. Naturally, I've already made videos about them and slandered their names. Don't worry, Mom and Dad will get their chance on the slander spotlight soon. In the meantime, I decided to compile all my favorite stories about my siblings. Please enjoy the Sibling Saga.
Hey, Brenner, if you jump off this cliff right now, I'll give you a penny. Oh. Hi, I'm Bryson, and a while ago I made a video about the times I almost died and the times I got hurt really bad. But that got me thinking about the other injuries in my family, and one sibling came to mind. One who had dodged the grasp of death more times than I can count. The sibling who had little to no regard for his own mortality and would regularly hurt himself. The wild child, if you will. The youngest brother, Brenner. This is gonna be a long video, because Brenner gets injured a lot. I don't want to cut out good stories or do a part 2, so let's just sit down, relax, grab some popcorn, and laugh at my brother's pain. Now, almost all of Brenner's injuries were self-inflicted. However, I think it's only right we start the video with Brenner's very first injury, the one he got from me. Brenner had recently been born, and my parents invited me into their room to say hi to my new baby brother. As I said hello to him, he reached out his hand and scratched my chest. Now, obviously, Brenner was just a baby. He had no control of his body and was just moving around. But my 4-year-old brain could not let this slide. How dare you? First, you come into my house, take my spot as the cute youngest child, and take all the attention from my parents? And now this? I offered you my hand in friendship, and you attacked me. You must pay recompense for your actions.
Hey! No! Stop! Just calm down! Don't do it!
My parents tried to stop me, but it was too late. I reached out and scratched him back. He began to cry, and my parents put me in timeout. Little did Brenner know, his pain had just begun. Okay, in all seriousness, I felt really bad for what I did. Even now, I still regularly apologize to Brenner about it. But he can't even remember it, so he doesn't care. Brenner, my conscience has really been getting to me lately, and I'm so sorry about what I did.
Dude, that was 17 years ago. Can you just move on? I forgive you, okay?
Thank you. I love you, Brenner. I'm so glad I could get that off my chest. Remember in my pain video where my brother Brody slammed the door in my fingers? Yeah. Apparently that experience runs in the family. Brody walked through a door as a young Brenner was sticking his fingers on the hinges, and Brody slammed the door again. Brenner's fingers bent every which way.
If I had a nickel for every time I slammed a sibling's fingers in a door, I'd have 2 nickels. That isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice.
Luckily, Brenner's fingers didn't break, and the doctors fixed him up. Feel better soon, buddy, and don't get into any more trouble.
I will make no such promises.
One time, me and Brenner were playing tag, and rather than be tagged by me, he jumped into a busy street in a car barely avoiding.
Next time I'll try to get my items again. Bye, guys.